I don't even know what your name means, frankly. It's like crazy.
Rauki
Singhara.
Singhara Desh Ka Avara. Superb. It
Singhara
means,
Desh Ka Avara. What
hey,
is
tell me, why
Singhara?
is that Maua Moitra blocked you?
Listen, we are now
I
live, by
just,
the way.
I, I have no idea. She
I have to
We are
clearly
talk
live.
to you
doesn't
about
like
her.
it.
And
We are
by the
live
way,
on
are
Sunday
you
Club.
and Advaita free for dinner tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'm in town. By the
Okay,
way,
I
we are
will.
live.
I have to talk to you about that, but I'm not telling Leila and all. I'll tell you why. Oh, actually, I
हाँ,
We are
can tell
live.
अरे
Leila.
we live.
We are
हम
live. We
हम
are live.
live हैं.
So what?
We
Yeah,
are.
big deal.
हाँ,
I do not care. This is such a problem. Okay,
हाँ.
lovely. Thank you everybody for joining us on the Sunday Club. Like you can tell, I'm the only one who cares that you all are here. No one else on this panel does. So please make a note of it and
I just want
appreciate
to clarify where we Suhel are the ones that treat you like family and let you into our secrets. Advaita Kala is the one that treats you like a pariah and keeps you out of all our special secrets.
And
whatever.
just for the country to know, Advaita Kala's had a haircut.
Of
Yeah.
course, I've had a haircut and it's looking fab. And Anil, thanks so
Oh,
much
Anil
for
is here. Hey,
My
Anil.
God,
Mile
Anil is
kadam,
here.
mile kadam जुड़े वतन भारत जोड़ो यात्रा.
How are you?
अरे भारत जोड़ो की पूजा करो.
Okay, so let's start with the documentary and the person who really hit the news this week, Anil Anthony. Thank you so much for joining
Not
us.
easy, but somehow things happened.
Things happen. So, I mean, was it like off the cuff? Did you just feel sort of like, I mean, you hadn't obviously planned it. It was just something that you felt was the right thing to say at that point of time.
Yeah, everything happened within 24 hours. Like, let's say a tweet happened the next day. In that 24 hours, too many things happened, and I thought at that moment that was the right thing to do. Like, anyway, for the last 17, 18 months, a lot of things were going. I think this was a culmination of whatever happened.
Right. And how are you feeling now? Like free and sort of chilling?
Yeah, a lot of life goes on, and it's good to take certain burdens off your
Yeah.
shoulders, frees you for more.
So are you in
She froze.
You know, she earns so much of money on this program. She
Yeah.
spends it all on a bloody haircut when she should be spending it on her equipment and on a laptop and a Wi-Fi signal. All
I
the
am in
money
a
goes to
hotel.
some cheap salon, and you
Yeah.
see what she
Why,
turns out.
why have you checked into a third-rate hotel that doesn't have Wi-Fi,
I
Advaita?
am in a very nice
ऐसा
hotel.
चाहिए पैसा भेजूं क्या?
Which which part of the world is this which doesn't have Wi-Fi?
अरे
She's in
जी
Lucknow.
चौड़ी चलैया.
No,
I
no,
mean,
she's in Lucknow, boss. He'll be the next prime minister. Not she, Yogi.
nonsense, don't talk crap, yeah. I was at a wedding, as you all can see in Kanpur,
I hope
and
it was not your own.
if it was my own, I wouldn't invite you anyway. So that's right.
Oh, there
That's
comes our
Oh, Miss Tokus
photojournalist,
is here.
Pallavi Ghosh.
Okay,
Is she
so
ready to
there's a
commit
Dal
suicide
Lake
because
right
she's on a
behind
terrace?
me. I
Oh
am
wow,
Pallavi?
you're
right.
in Kashmir.
The Dal
Pallavi,
Lake is yeah. The
please
Dal
don't
Lake is right
pretend.
behind me. The
Wherever
mountains.
Rahul goes, she follows. Forget Bharat Jodo.
See,
It's Pallavi Jodna with Rahul.
Pallavi
see,
Jona with
this
Rahul
is
sounds so
this
nice.
this is all fake. We all know Pallavi is in her ancestral home in Haryana, the Tokus farm. We
Oh,
know
yeah, you're
she's just
jealous.
been herding. She's just been herding all her buffaloes and her cows, and she
Abhijit,
just come.
Abhijit, you are
Huh.
sulking because Mahua Moitra has blocked you.
Yeah,
Mahua
yeah.
Moitra.
I'm so upset she's blocked me. मैं क्या करूँगा?
Tell me, Pallavi, seriously, do you get paid to do what you're doing? Because, I mean, I've never seen you
Obviously.
do an ounce of work. There you are. Again, she's eating.
So here, this is my work.
What, to
Okay.
eat and
You know,
admire the Dal Lake at night? Who are you, the
this is
fifth
not
Chenab?
admiring. This is just okay. So Taj is where the Congress leaders are staying. Taj is where Rahul Gandhi just did a
So
press
much for
conference,
Bharat
and
Jodo.
I'm
They're staying at the Taj and then they're
Ah.
complaining.
Wow, I should. I think the Congress are they looking for new people? Anil just
Aren't you
left.
also at the Taj?
We're
Pallavi,
staying
aren't
at the
you at the
Taj.
Taj?
No, I'm not
I
at
am
the
at
Taj.
the
I
But
am
you
not.
know
She's
the
also
nice
at the
one.
Taj.
Taj has a better view, but I have to say, Taj, the food and the rooms aren't as good as the Lalit, you know. That's the old Maharaja's palace,
No,
no?
but Lalit
That's
has been
much
rude.
nicer.
Today, I have to tell you, and Rahul Gandhi is a connoisseur, as we all know.
Mm.
The Taj is superb in Srinagar. They've revamped. It's brilliant.
It's
You
very
can ask
nice.
for Vazwa. It's very good now.
No, and it's got the best
The,
view because one side you can
the,
overlook the entire Dal Lake, and then
It's
behind
very
you are
nice.
those snow-clad mountains.
I stayed there in 2019. The pool was full of alga, just like the Rashtrapati Bhavan pools
It's been
fountain.
done up now. It's been
Yeah, it's now
renovated and it's
changed.
Acha,
superb now.
Abhijit has very high standards.
I
Abhijit,
do.
stop sulking all the time.
What are you eating?
I'm having cookies and kawa.
I mean, take
Oh,
India out
but
of Bengali, but you can't put a Bengali into Kashmir. They still have their cookies and the khaba.
listen,
Kawa na
Pallavi.
kawa. And I'm dipping the cookie into the kawa, true
Listen,
Bengali style with biscuit and chai and having it.
Yeesh.
Listen, we're having a serious discussion. Anil has joined us for the first time. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
you can't
sorry, Anil.
behave in an irresponsible way like your journalism. So let's start. Advaita, why don't you take charge rather than tell everyone about your bloody haircut?
I have not
Yeah.
told anyone about my haircut. You've been telling everybody about my haircut. Welcome, Sandeep Ghosh.
Hi,
Ghosh.
hi.
Good to have you here with us.
Oh, this is a change in
Sandeep,
style.
you're
Advaita,
Are you out of
start
here.
talking
office?
to Anil. Start talking to Anil. We want all the
Anil,
juice from
Yeah,
Anil. Start talking to
Anil,
him.
Somebody
okay.
else for the first
Anil,
time, it's
the
better to sit
floor
and
is
listen
yours.
first.
Anil, the floor is yours. Okay, go ahead. Did you watch part two of the BBC documentary? That's what we're going to
They
discuss.
all talk nonsense, Anil, so just put up with them.
No, I haven't
and
watched part one or two. I just saw some
why
things from here and
this
there. So far, I haven't had any
darkness?
time to watch it.
Why is this lady in darkness? Her car battery is not working or something.
Oh
Oh, shut up.
God.
Okay, I'm coming in the light. Kitna boring and predictable you are, yaar, Sandeep.
Sandeep,
Really.
you should always come on time, yeah, because then we go back and say that we're not getting to the root of our discussion, which is
Advaita, why
the
don't you take
BBC
charge of the
propaganda.
program, man?
I'm taking charge. Suhel, okay, come in, Suhel. What did you think? Did you watch? You're in England right now. Did you watch the BBC documentary?
I watched both part one and part two, and these are my
Okay.
comments. Number one, every issue that has been raised has already been addressed by three entities: the government of India, which at that time was run by Manmohan Singh and
तो
the Congress;
तुमको घूमना है
number
अंदर खा के
two,
आ जाओ ना.
by the Special Investigation Team; and three, by the Supreme Court. For the Supreme Court to have announced, and Justice Khanwilkar, it went through the motions, it went to the High Court in Gujarat, blah, blah, blah. B, Mukul Rohatgi, who's a very dear friend of mine, who actually appeared on behalf of Mr. Modi, was against Kapil Sibal, who was appearing on behalf of Mrs. Jaffrey. All the points that have been raised have been addressed. General Zamruddin Ahmad, also famously known as Nasir's brother, had in his book mentioned that the army was forced to wait at the airfield and no troops were given, and therefore the mayhem happened. Four things have emerged. Number one, the timing is suspect. Number two, if you look at this, it is an attack on India. It is certainly an attack on Modi, but more importantly, it's an attack on democracy and on our jurisprudence. It's almost like saying that Modi had influence, even when he was not prime minister, to be able to influence the Supreme Court of India. Second, if you examine the documentary only has one token BJP bloke, and that is Swapan Dasgupta. Knowing Swapan Dasgupta as I do, he's a bright man. He would have wanted to be part of the BBC because he's like a coconut. He's brown outside, he's white inside. If the BBC was to interview him about how cattle traps need to be created in India, he would appear on that documentary as well. So to say that because Swapan Dasgupta was there, the representation of the BJP was complete and comprehensive is incorrect. And to my mind, Swapan mounted a great defense. Defense means a clarification. My belief is when something like this happens, you do two things. As a government, you ignore it. Number two, you let it play its course. This government, as I've said repeatedly on your program, and I know you're in bed with them in terms of your future career. Let me tell
Nonsense.
you, this government is the worst communicator and the worst strategist. Okay, there is an issue here, Advaita. If these blokes had not been holier than thou and more loyal than the king and allowed the film its course, none of this would have happened. More people see an item that's banned rather than an item that's available. No one would have read the Satanic Verses until the Jokers banned it. But this is the tragedy of India. Now, Anurag Thakur yesterday, and rightly so, says that there was never any ban. But you had
It was
police, you had
blocked.
all these people. Point I'm making is, why would you do that? You only ban something or you remove links when you have something to be scared of. All Modi should have done, and not actually Prime Minister Modi, but the government should have said that, look, we are very clear that these matters were part of a judicial investigation and judicial process. We are a democracy. We are not a banana republic that's being run by a public broadcast. And the matter would have ended. You don't need to ban. My point, Advaita, is every time the Prime Minister does this, actually, he doesn't even do it, poor chap. It's done in order to please him. Whenever this happens, they actually damage him more. So he needs to rap some people on the knuckles. I was telling Abhijit also, offline, saying that who is advising these people? Because they're a bunch of jokers. I mean, they should have just given a 1-line, 5-line response saying these are the elements, this is what has been addressed, period. But you don't
Or
do it.
ignore it completely.
Or ignore it. I would have said ignore it. Don't bother.
Yeah.
भाई रात गई बात गई बदनाम हुआ. In those days it used to say सुभाष गई. जब कारवां चलता है, does it stop because there are dogs barking? It doesn't. It continues. So that's what I think.
Sandeep, you're now employed again, and you're in corporate India.
That is very sarcastic.
What? It's
No, that's-
factual.
No,
It's
but that's a
factual.
terrible way of saying it.
Yeah,
I'm a
it sounds.
Pahadi. I am part Pahadi. We speak our minds. We are very innocent
She
people.
speaks the
We
truth,
say things
Suhel,
as
unlike
they
some
are.
people who
Yeah.
try to act smart on
I'm not
Twitter all
like,
the
you
time.
know, you Delhi Lutyens lot who
also
has
you-
to like say
I
things.
live in
Arey,
Gurgaon,
stop,
so screw
stop
Lutyens.
making this about yourself. Yeah, you're so narcissistic and
Oh, keep
self-absorbed.
quiet.
Talk to
Keep
Sandeep.
quiet. Sandeep, since you're in the corporate
Anil is
world,
shocked. He must be thinking, "ये कहाँ आ गया हूँ मैं यार?"
listen, and
No,
people
no.
have been complaining that
Anil has been traveling with me, so he knows exactly what he's getting into.
Yeah. If he's traveling with you, then he really needs to do something else in life.
absolutely.
So
Okay,
rude.
Sandeep, have you watched the documentary quickly? And if not, if so, then what are your views? If not, how do you think we handled it? Should we have made it available and not gone about
I have neither watched it nor will I watch it because I don't feel the necessity to watch something just because some country, some channel has published or broadcast something about our country or one state of our country or one leader. Essentially, because if it was something totally new, curiosity-wise, I would have watched it. But this is something which has been going on for the last 20 years. We have, gone through it several times in different motions. It's nothing which this, from whatever I read, this documentary says is not something we have never heard. And this has been sort of, recycled ad nauseum by everyone concerned who are anti-Modi. So we have heard all of that. The issue, therefore, what is a critical issue is why, suddenly everybody's waking up, hey, BBC has said it, so it must be true. But before that, your entire system, including the Supreme Court, and as Suhel said, means it was not that something which was not defended. The topmost lawyers of the country and going through the entire motion for 20 years, they defended it. Everything, there was SIT, everything was done. And we are adult enough to draw our own conclusion. I don't have to be guided by whether it's today a BBC or tomorrow it is a Global Times or whatever you call it. Somebody publishes something and we say, hey, they are correct and our Supreme. And if we had to go by BBC or the Brits version of history, we would have learned a lot of other history today, and we did learn a lot of other things, which was not necessarily true. So they are not, for me, the reference point. So that's the first bit. Second bit, I think I disagree a little with Suhel and Abhijit in terms of the government's reaction. Certainly, in terms of the communication, they could have been far more direct. And on the lines of what Suhel said, those are the exact words that should have been communicated. But whether they should not have reacted at all, I'm not too sure. I think they needed to show action because otherwise these blokes take us for granted. They think they can just ride roughshod over us, and nobody in India will have the you know the guts or the balls to go and you know
Oh,
react.
oh, oh,
And
oh.
What?
No, he
Suhail,
said
don't be
guts and.
I,
disruptive.
I checked myself on time. Okay, I didn't go all the way. I kind of, I kind of pushed the brakes, maybe a little too late, but it's gone. But I did push the applied. So now thereafter, we couldn't do it, so something had to be done. Whether that was an overreaction, overkill, or what the government did, and the fact that the government stood by, irrespective of all the people, the protest is much more internally. That here you're not allowing, you're being a coward, you're not allowing people to speak, but the government has done that. I think I would support the move per se. Whether it could have been handled differently, handled with greater degree of finesse, is another matter. But I think something needed to be done.
Right. Abhijit, coming to you finally, there was this someone tweeted at the FT page, and on the Financial Times, like the whatever the
Why is
whatever
Suhail laughing?
not so it's probably wait. Okay, in that section, that there was this article by Ram Guha about how Hindu nationalists hate Gandhi. Then there was something on the Bharat Jodo Yatra. And there was one more thing that was critical. I think something I can't recall what it was exactly, but it was just like a total like hatchet job on India, at different layers and different levels. And then we have the DW documentary, and now we have the BB two-parter. So what's your take? I mean, what's happening here? Why are we so much of such great interest to them?
Look, it's not great interest. The job of the press, see, it's increasingly become a bit like we have to stand by our brothers kind of thing. That somehow taking a contrarian stand is speaking truth to power, whether it's the truth or not or whatever. And you're kind of criticized for staying out. I had a friend in Agence France Presse who went and met this boy Kanhaiya Kumar when those JNU protests broke out, and her impression was he was a moderately dumb, mediocre, not very smart, very casteist chap. The problem was she couldn't say anything about it and she couldn't write about it because her editors wouldn't allow her to, and it was not the done thing because you'd be throwing your own biradari under the truck, so to say. Right? So it's not a conspiracy, it's just the way things are. See, the issue is the left is global, the right is local. Right? The left is global, the right is local. Global, the right is local. And so what happens is that right everywhere is localized. The left takes a kind of standard position on everything everywhere. They're able to synthesize seamlessly. And these are the kind of constituency that Rahul has kind of stuck up to, but he's also been speaking their language. I mean, remember yesterday in Kashmir, he called other Indians outsiders. He said outsiders have come to take your jobs. When, Bihari landless laborers and chaat vendors are being killed on the streets of Srinagar.
Disgusting.
I mean, so how irresponsible can you get? But this is the power of the left. It acts as a validation mechanism, as an international validation mechanism, an international networking mechanism. It's a very insidious, dangerous kind of thing. And I don't believe it's a deep state or people are out to get us. It's this kind of herd mentality that they all go with. But remember, this is also why they behave like lemmings and they all collectively jump off the cliffs.
Yeah. Anil, yeah, go ahead.
No, I
you're
wanted
doing something,
you to
sir.
focus on Anil. Poor Anil hasn't spoken at all.
You want to
And
ask
he's our
Anil
guest
a
of
question,
honor.
Abhijit? Abhijit, you
No,
want to
no,
ask
no.
Anil a question? Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
No, I've been
So
speaking to Anil since yesterday. You talk, Anil.
yes, so we are in touch for a while. So we went to Israel together a bunch some time back. So anyway, anyway, uh, Anyway, so I share the sentiments of all of you in certain aspects. Like one, like how Suhel said, said, I also think that, let's say, when we ban something or block something, the curiosity of people only increase, which only creates, let's say, more curiosity in a lot of people who would like to see it, and all these kind of, let's say, um, viewership activism become very normal when these kind of circumstances are there. So, if um, the government and the decision makers are a little smarter, um, I'm fairly sure that this would have been much more, this issue would have been way less than what we are seeing right now, in the curiosity of people. And just like Sandeep, like even I haven't watched this at all, like even part one or two, I think some clips from here and there, like a lot of people who saw it were commenting. I did see a little bit of what this is about, even the people who are speaking on it and who all are the different views and all. I know, but at the same time, I haven't seen it because, again, there's too much going on, and I go to Netflix, and there is enough interesting things to watch if I'm actually in a if I
Me too.
want to watch something. And I think this is not something which will be anywhere near my priority at this moment. Um,
Mm.
but in the last 2 3 days, despite all this, like this documentary did create a lot of havoc in my life. Like
I
I
know.
just made a, I would say, a fairly innocuous tweet in the morning where I did feel that the last few days, like certain narrations are happening, which is not really good for anybody in the long run. And I made a little point of view, but certain people were very, very unhappy about it, and a lot of things end up happening, which finally resulted in me resigning from all my posts from the INC and taking a back seat from politics itself, because the current environment makes it very untenable for me to work in the organization. So
Are you still a member of the Congress, Anil, or have you quit
I
that as
haven't
well?
resigned from my membership. I haven't. That's
So
because
you're
again,
officially still like
I
a
am still a
member of
member.
the party,
Yes.
and
Uh,
and your resignation was accepted.
so I had no idea if my ASSC resignation is accepted, but I assume that the KPCC resignation is accepted because yesterday they did name my replacement, so that means that it is accepted. So the funny thing is, Dr. Shashi Tharoor was the chairperson of that cell, and because of some other reasons, like he resigned last year, almost 12 months back, and both the replacements were announced together yesterday. So that is how certain things work.
Very quick on the draw, at least when it comes to your role. And
No,
what why did you feel the need to speak out? I mean, I agree 100% with everything that you said, but why did you feel the need to go public with it?
so see, for a while, like I would say, for a while, a lot of our narrations, like I, as a person, was not very comfortable with, where is our friend Abhijit? Like um, I was not very comfortable with many of the narrations that we were having for a while, because I did feel that, let's say, especially when it comes to certain core aspects, like including our national security and including our core national interests, our sovereignty, and all. Like sometimes, for a while, I have been thinking that we are taking certain stances which is against the general public consciousness of the country and against the wider national interest. And I was not very happy with that for a while. Like we have been having internal discussions for a while, and then again, this documentary comes in, and Abhijit will already know. Like for a while, like when it comes to certain media outlets, including the BBC, the global left or whatever you call it, like I have certain views which I've been expressing for a while in a lot of private platforms and in some small platforms also outside the party platforms. But there are certain views I've been having for a while. And then this particular documentary come, and again, like how what Suhel had said, like it's something that happened 20 years back, and there is nothing which we already don't know. And again, regarding the this country itself, like there are certain viewpoints I have. Like for example, in this country, this whole narration of like I as a person, like I do believe that one of our biggest strength as a country is our diversity, pluralism. We are a very, very diverse country, and but end of the day, like the British were the people who simplified it into just the Hindus and Muslims during their time to create certain rift to ensure that their rule can go on forever. Um, and so, like once again, when this documentary came in, like I did feel that once again this is an attempt to, let's say, open up certain of the wounds which we are trying to
Wounds.
heal. I didn't think is a good thing. And then the place the documentary came from itself. So I never said ban the documentary. I only said like this documentary, in my views, got some dubious origins. Like for example, one of the guys who is actually one of the most vocal voices in the documentary uh, is a guy, Mr. Jack Straw, who was the British Foreign Secretary in long time back,
Absolute idiot.
who is one of the main proponents behind this weapons of mass destructive theory then, and you know how that ended up. So when somebody like this is actually bringing a project into this country, obviously, like I didn't see any point. Like I have certain views on BBC, then I have certain views on Mr. Jackson also. I have certain views on what they are trying to do in this country also. Like I don't like meddling by other people in the country. Like that's something which I always like. Even 10 years, like whenever it is like even in the, like this is what I always think is the right thing. And so finally, like it's a combination of many of these things that finally made me, let's say, have that tweet. And the tweet didn't have anything controversial, but somehow like it just exploded. And
Yeah.
then finally, like this is what it is.
Hmm.
But did you notice? What I noticed was the kind of abuse that was being directed at him by Congress handles was obscene. It was beyond ridiculous. He wasn't attacking anybody in the Congress. He just said the BBC documentary had lots of holes in it, and we shouldn't be supporting foreign narratives in India. And
Correct.
I have known Anil for the last 5-6 years. He's always been very uncomfortable with all these foreign narratives and things like that. First
But
of all, the fact that the Congress shouldn't have to depend on the Congress is the party of nationalism in this country, boss. देश का nationalism को क्या होगा if you depend on foreign narratives to push your nationalism? ठीक है? And I think people like Anil, like Jaivi, they've been trying very, very hard within the party to change the narrative. And it just never seems to work. There's a coterie of sycophants, and like he said in his letter, sycophants and chamchas who have, अरे क्या हो रहा है? किसका घर में धुलाई हो रहा है?
I know there's too much background. This is Suhel. Suhel, mute yourself when you're not. Now you're muted now. And this Pallavi also.
What is what is and what is happening is all the well-meaning people are being shoved to one side. There is one set of people who are telling Rahul only what he wants to hear and nothing else. They capture all these positions of power, and it's the end for everybody else. There is no contradictory point of view. There is no red teaming, as we call it, in the Congress.
So I tell you what I found really baffling was that there was a Rahul Gandhi press conference in Jammu, and he was asked this question on the BBC documentary, and he also was asked about Digvijay Singh's comment, and he said, I find his comments ridiculous, but unlike the BJP, our party has conversations and people are allowed to air their opinions, and we don't have an issue with that. Within 2 hours of that, if I'm not mistaken, Anil's tweet came, and then we saw what had happened. And I remember I did send a WhatsApp to Anil at that point of time. You just wait and watch what will happen, and I was not surprised. It's a pattern. I saw it happen with Javeed. I've seen it happen sometimes with Sandeep Dixit. Sometimes I see the attacks coming on Ghulam Nabi Azad. They've chosen their own course. You may talk about party discipline, but you don't have to be abusive, But now what happens is that every time the Congress raises a finger at the BJP and accuses it of being fascist, not allowing an alternative point of view within the party, and look how open the Congress is, people like Javi, people like Anil will actually be thrown up as examples, and rightly so, of the Congress party's duplicity and double standards. And mind you, very quickly, after Anil wrote that tweet, I know at least five leaders, and they are high profile leaders who actually, when I was reporting on the story, they sent me an SMS saying, Pallavi, I completely agree with him, but it's just that we can't say it because हमें party में रहना है and all the time, you know. So unlike him, we cannot exercise his option of speaking loudly. I said, अरे private में तो बोल दो, बोला कैसे बोले? They've already made up their mind. And look what's happening. I mean, Anil's second tweet today, I mean, that's a very valid point. And if you look at the BBC part two, it's even worse. It's so obvious what the agenda is. And you may have your opposition to any political party. And mind you, I'm not holding a brief for the BBC or anyone, or I mean, I'm not holding a brief for the BJP or anyone here. But the fact is, you just have to look at a part two of the documentary to understand that what was the agenda. It is very clear-cut agenda.
Suhel wants to come in. He keeps unmuting himself, and we can only hear like cutlery and crockery.
No, there's
and
no
all.
cutlery here. It must be in your
He's
brain.
washing something. I think he's washing the dishes.
He's in the lounge. He's in the lounge at Heathrow, and
No,
it's
no.
like somebody's like washing dishes next to him. Anyway,
No,
God, he's
we
showing
don't.
off he's in
We're not.
London.
We're not in the lounge of
Air India.
the railways that you frequent. So don't worry. What is your question? Be serious. Okay, we don't have time to
Okay,
waste.
first of all, I want everybody to like this video so that we get more viewerships for this video. So, my viewers, please like our video. Okay.
It's incorrect
And,
English. More viewership is enough. No viewerships.
Okay.
That
Okay,
one
fine.
hasn't sailed in your book.
Okay. So that's extremely important. Let's do that very quickly. Anil, I just want to ask you one more question.
I thought you were going to ask me a question.
1 minute. Anil is our special
What the
today. So.
No, we can. Yeah. Okay.
Anil, were you surprised by the reaction of your party, of the Congress, to your tweet? Did you expect it, or were you taken by surprise? Because they do the big talk on free speech and all of that.
No, so to be very honest, I was not that surprised. Like when Pallavi did, he sent me a warning text also that day, but like I said certain things, but I'm not surprised at all. Like I expected a lot of backlash, but not in this magnitude. That's all. It's really the magnitude that changed, not the content, not the reaction. Like I was very much expecting it. And like again, free speech. Like one of the I'm from Kerala also. They're like since the time I'm like there forever. Like the Communist Party is our main political opposition. And every 5 years, our government keeps alternating also. So I'm very used to the left to the other side of the left political spectrum very well.
Yeah.
And like we keep talking about the free speech, but then the free speech is only uh, for the people who believe in certain thought processes and certain ideologies. Like anybody other than that, like they don't believe in any free speech. It's more like, let's say, whatever you're seeing in Twitter with whatever is happening in the US, like that's exactly what it is everywhere. Where free speech means our opinion, and anything which is opposite to that means it is either fake or it's a conspiracy theory or God knows what it is. So that's the general definition of free speech which certain people have.
Anil, I mean, being from Kerala, you're very well aware of leftist politics there. Those of us on the outside who have been viewing and observing the Congress have increasingly felt that at least the Gandhi siblings and Rahul Gandhi in particular is taking the Congress in a, hard left kind of direction, not even left of center. And he's surrounded by a lot of people who are into this leftist sort of performative activism and very little substance or follow through, and that's why he's often accused of parachuting into issues and then vanishing. Do you feel that the view that we have sitting on the outside about the Congress's drift towards the hard left is legitimate, or is it a problem of perception?
No, I'm very glad you asked this question, because again, these are conversations which few of us have been having inside for a while. Because like people like me feel like, for example, like let's say immediately after independence, like Pandit Nehru, he was a socialist, but he was a nationalist also. But now, I'll just come to that. And at that point of time, like he was working on certain policies, and at that point of time, the CPM, the Communist Party of the CPM, was actually at that point of time our main opposition party in India. It was the main opposition party in India when Pandit Nehru was the prime minister. And at that point of time, they had certain narrations. Like, for example, like they always used to say, like, whenever we try to do certain things, like, let's say, they will say, like, you are only supporting Tatars and Birlas. Or, like, let's say, or let's say, when we are trying to create a space program, they will say, like, what is the point of a space program? Why don't you distribute greens? So this was the narration then, like 60, 75 years later. Now, ironically, like now there is a government, like whatever they are doing, like actually, like 75 years later, like our narrations have become fairly fossilized, where it kind of reminds me of that right now, where it's just the
Yeah.
names that have changed, but it's the same thing. And the country has moved so much in the last 75 years, especially in the last 30 plus years, especially after the economic liberalization of the early 90s. And in that liberalization, let's say we are, the Congress party is actually one of the main, um, like it is one of the primary reasons why this country's trajectory has actually gone this way. But the current leadership and many of our top leaders refuse to own that success, because we are still stuck in a certain ideology from a period even before that. That's a reality. And then, like you said, like, are we going more and more to the left? Like, I don't know if it is a perception, or like I won't even say left, right, but like we are going into a certain trajectory which is actually against this country's core political consciousness, and I don't think that is a good thing at all. And two, again, um, somehow we have reached a stage where, let's say, uh, suddenly even saying that you are a nationalist doesn't look good for a lot of people, or a lot of people within the party are not very happy to even say that you are that, because apparently that itself has become a bad term for a lot of people. And I don't think, again, this kind of thought processes can take a party anywhere. So this is my personal opinion.
A lot of our viewers are asking, Anil, if you'll join the BJP. What is that looking like for you?
Who asked that? Hello?
Our viewers.
No. I do at this moment I had no plans to do anything. Like, I think I'm happy with my professional work. I do a lot of things in technology. I do a lot of work in policy, and I think I'm happy where I am. Like, at this moment, I have no plans for any politics. Like, I think I had enough of it for a while. I think I need a breather and break.
You need a break. You need a break right now. Pallavi, I mean, when you have like people like Anil, who have worked in the party, who are, intelligent, aware, into policy, into the serious business of evaluating what's good for the country, when they kind of throw their hands up or are shunted out for having independent views, what does it do to the people who are left behind? Of course, there's a lot who don't want to say anything, but what about the others who are
So,
thinking?
so many of those who stay behind and may have a different point of view or disagree with the official line of the Congress party, then just shut up. Because they then, if they don't find an alternative, like they can't join any other political party, or they don't want to take a political sannyas, so to say, then they just keep quiet. And that's exactly what some of those senior high-profile leaders told me. Ki, "Hum jaye to jaye kahan? We cannot open our mouth, and we are not going to say." So I said, okay, you don't have to speak to the media, but surely you can say this in private to your top leaders. He said, no, no one wants to listen, because the whole structure has now become so opaque that we are not able to communicate the point we want to communicate. And frankly speaking, at the top level, there has been so much of mistrust and so much of, like anyone who's have a different point of view. I remember the first question they ask is, okay, so where is this person going to? In fact, today I'm at this place in Srinagar at Taj, where there's a dinner going on downstairs, which the Congress president is holding for all the top Congress leaders, chief ministers, you name it. All of them are here. And I remember I was sitting at a table before the Rahul Gandhi press conference began, and I was surrounded by 4 or 5 leaders,
Are,
and they
is
were
Kharge
asking me,
hosting the dinner?
and
Is
another fellow
Kharge hosting
journalist,
the dinner?
and another fellow,
Is Kharge hosting the dinner?
and then Kharge is hosting a dinner. So these two of us were sitting there, and there were at least 4 people, and 2 of them were from Kerala, asking me, "So when is Anil joining the BJP? I'm sure you know about it." So there's this whole cynicism all the time that anyone who's questioning is one either leaving the party, looking for excuses, or that person is definitely going to be joining the BJP. And acha hua wo chala gaya, you know. So,
Hmm.
so the ones who are staying back will not even air the opinions, even in private now, to the top leadership or the people they should be, because they're scared. कि खबर leak हो गई, and then what will be thought of. So I
Hmm.
find the party becoming extremely opaque.
Suhail,
And
let's
mind you,
come to
Congress
you.
was not always like that.
Keep
Yeah.
quiet now. Let me start, huh?
Suhail, start.
Ask.
Suhail, okay, someone like Anil leaving the party, Javi
So,
Shergill leaving the party. What's the next step for the Congress to survive this sort of retrenchment of sorts, isn't it?
They don't care. Remember how the Congress is run. Anil should know that. His dad, of course, knows that. It's run like a feudal system. ठीक है? And it's a Raja Rang ki kahani. People come, people go. They don't care. They actually don't care because they think they're impervious to such this thing. They also believe people who leave them are betrayers and should have been loyal for all the goodies they received in all these years from the Gandhis. They don't see departure as a reason of their doing. They see departure as a betrayal by the person who's departing. That's number one. Number two, Rahul Gandhi continues to be surrounded by two things: a lack of intellect and people who are servile. When you are unintelligent and allow civility, it's the most lethal concoction. I mean, you know that from experience. So, the point I'm making is that it's a very dicey situation for anyone who's leaving the Congress. But if you leave the Congress, they don't care. They have enough people. And as Pallavi Ghosh, after a long time, in a sensible way, says, that the people who are left behind don't know where to go. The BJP today is a washing machine, but it can't be a perennial washing machine because even they'll run out of detergent. How many people can they keep taking? कि भाई आप भी आ जाओ, आप भी आ जाओ, आप भी आ जाओ. There has to be a role. Finally, and Anil is one of those young Turks, the young leaders are also impatient. But they don't want to run the rest of their lives, which is a longer tenure than, let's say, Ghulam Nabi Azad, waiting for opportunities. A Ghulam Nabi Azad left when he had nothing else to do. I mean, he had to choose between adult diapers and starting a political party. But today, that's not the situation with young people. Scindia left. Sachin Pilot, I don't know. Sachin Pilot is a bit like Rahul Gandhi. I don't know if he has a mind which he can then make up. But people are leaving. Jitin Prasad left. People are leaving at the drop of a hat. I mean,
Yeah.
you were a Congress lover for the longest time. But when you
Never.
saw
But
the
go
ship
on.
sinking, I mean, you
But
were
go
the
on.
most promising rat that left. And
Yeah.
you've done an
No,
Go
amazing
on.
job.
Suhel, what
Go
I
on.
keep saying, whether in the corporate world or anywhere, the shelf life has shrunk. Today, if you tell a guy at 35, okay, I'll make you chairman or MD at the age of 65, he's not going to wait around, hang around. Which once upon a time people would do. They would wait to retire from a company. Today, they don't do that anywhere. Everywhere, the runway has become shorter. And these people will get into oblivion if they stick around. So they realize the problem because sorry to cut in, Congress at different points in time, different people uh, are kind of the influence leaders. Today, Jairam Ramesh is the hero. He thinks he's got it right with Bharat Jodo Yatra. Therefore, he can, butt in. If you've seen that video where this guy was, Ajtak guy was interviewing Digvijay Singh, he butts in there and almost, throws him away, saying that makes Digvijay Singh stop and saying that, don't distract, don't divert, or something to that effect. Now, they are the people who call the shots at the moment. They are the flavor of the season. So if an Anil quits or anybody quits, they'll say, don't worry, we are on the right track. Look at the kind of response we're getting to Bharat Jodo Yatra. They'll have people like Pallavi and all of them. Pallavi, did you get vegetarian dinner or non-vegetarian? Good Kashmiri was one.
where?
Today, you said
No, it
that
was a
Taj,
snacks, high tea,
you
high
said dinner
tea,
earlier.
sandwiches and pakora. Dinner is not for me. Dinner is for the Congress leaders
Yeah,
downstairs.
but she's on
Why
a
should I
company
get dinner
account.
here?
She's on a company account. She'll eat for an army. Yeah, don't. I mean, look at her. It's not as if she's starved to death. So
Anyway,
let's not go there.
Anyway,
yeah, I'm
anyway.
pleasantly surprised
See,
with this call there. Huh? Last time
I just want to point
you
out,
were
Sandeep,
15
one
kilometers
second.
away from Rahul Gandhi when you went to the
Anil,
Jatra.
I have
Didn't
to
you?
tell you that you have walked into this. You have these one, two, three old men and grumpy men will go on and on and on.
How
That's what
rude!
one
Such
thing. By the way,
ageist comments. Such
are very
ageist
I think
comments.
Abhijit has
I
stopped.
just want to point
He's-
out. I
are
just want
very
to point
serious.
out that
I
the
just
And
want to
who
food,
are
say
you
one
from
thing.
that
bloody
the food,
Montessori or kindergarten?
uh,
I just
You're not
want to
in
say
uh,
one thing.
kindergarten.
Are very
the
serious
food that they're
viewers
serving, the
are
food that
very
they're
serious.
serving at the
Boss, I've
Taj.
seen the
Hello,
comments of your
Advaita, one
viewers.
second.
Your
The
viewers aren't
food that they're
exactly the
serving at the
brightest
Taj
buttons.
is bar ka khana. It isn't even Kashmiri khana that they're serving. When
Like
did pakoras and sandwich become Kashmiri? So this morning Rahul Gandhi complains about
It's
bahar ke log.
Kashmiri.
In the evening they're serving this thing,
No,
And look
no.
at her
proper
wearing
ये
Kashmiri
gloves. Where's your
कश्मीरी
snacks.
monkey
मिर्च का
cap?
पकोड़ा था.
Pallavi, you're wearing
वो
gloves in
कश्मीरी नहीं
Kashmir.
है.
Where's your
Okay,
monkey
come to
वो
the
cap?
कश्मीरी
point.
नहीं है.
Guys,
Kashmiri
come to the
khana
point.
is tuj and kebab kanti with noon chai. That was not served.
I'm
Tell me, you're wearing gloves. Where's your monkey cap? Because you're a good Bengali.
Yeah,
You
so
should have taken out your
I
monkey
told,
cap by
she's
now.
not a Bengali, yeah. She's Haryanvi, she's Tokus. She's Pallavi Tokus.
Even Rahul
Actually,
Gandhi
that's
was
true. I
wearing
forgot.
half the monkey
Okay, can we
cap.
come to the point now?
Yes. We're waiting for
yeah.
you to come to the point.
Okay.
Abhijit,
Suhel
you
wanted
were saying
Suhel.
something.
No, he'll talk nonsense.
मैंने तो
Suhel
बोल दिया.
wanted to discuss Rahul Gandhi's security. So Suhel, over to you to discuss Rahul Gandhi's security. I'm sorry, I've not tracked that piece of news, so I
So
have very limited on
basically,
that.
what happened was yesterday or day before, the yatra for a moment was called off, saying that there's been a security breach and the Jammu and Kashmir police did not give the security they were meant to. My comment on that was Rahul Gandhi, and this has been mentioned in Parliament, has on innumerable occasions, running into the thousands, he has given his security a slip and done whatever he had to do. Number one. Number two, all these protectees are protected at the cost of the taxpayer. If they can't behave responsibly, it is not the issue, it's not the problem of the security people. Number three, every person who's part of the security retinue of these politicians steps out every day not knowing whether he will live or not, only in order that these people live. They cannot cast aspersions on either their integrity, efficiency, or professionalism in the manner that Rahul Gandhi did. And this has been going on and on. The Prime Minister does it, Rahul Gandhi does it, all these politicians do it. And they do it because they think, oh, people love us, we want to be popular. Well, if they want to be popular and love us, then withdraw your security. So that was one point. My other point is that Rahul Gandhi has constantly said that there is no hatred in India. I've walked 2,800 kilometers, everyone loves everyone. Well, if everyone loves everyone, then you shouldn't be worried about your life. They love you too. So there's a logical disconnect. So my point is that all politicians who get security at our expense must behave with a level of responsibility that is expected of them and must be more accountable to the security professionals who guard them. The Secret Service in America can overrule a sitting president in every which way. They can do whatever the hell they want with you. I mean, other than kill you. So why can't our security forces be more, aggressive and more decent? Not decent, more telling in the way their protectees should behave.
But more than that, Advaita, I'll come in for just a second. One is, as Suhail is saying, it is their responsibility. If something happens, can you imagine the amount of furor would have been there if something, even a small breach would have actually happened over there? The whole entire blame would have come on these people. But the key point, forget the 2 days ago, but today the Rahul Gandhi could hoist the flag at Lal Chowk. I think he deserved to send a thank you note. He should have sent, not deserve means he should have sent a thank you note to Amit Shah. Can you imagine him doing this at any other time that the security system of India allowed. I couldn't care less whether he's a BJP politician or an opposition politician, any politician of that stature. To do that, standing at Lal Chowk, I think it's a huge, huge statement for the country. And for that acknowledgement should be there. Whether he does it or not, I know Kashmiris are acknowledging it. I've seen some very, very pro-Congress scribes who are originally from Kashmir write about it, saying that, this is very significant that somebody could do that, and the kind of turnouts you have had, it shows there has been shift in the ground in Kashmir. It doesn't matter whether even if it's in favor of Congress, but I would say it's a thumbs up to India.
Pallavi, are you praying? Because you covered your head and you're going back and forth.
It's 1 degree over here, so I'm feeling very cold.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to have.
She's always whining. Either her car is giving trouble, it's always about her. We're having a serious discussion.
So,
she brings it back to her
Anil,
cookies,
you have to
her
make up
cover,
your
her
mind.
dipping.
Which was worse?
And for God's sake.
Staying in the Congress party and not being allowed to air your views, or listening to these grumpy people.
Airing their views. Here we have too much freedom.
I think advisor called me today to, let's say, show the other side also, so that it's like grass is not at all greener on the other side.
We've got a grasshopper.
Anil,
We've got a grasshopper in Pallavi's form. You're lucky that she's not in a moving
Yes.
car today. I don't think
Okay,
she has a house.
Yes.
She
I'm
lives in a
going.
car.
It is very cold. Bye.
Yeah, there are people
Bye.
saying, Pallavi. I mean, they're saying Suhel is sitting in a nice heated room and passing judgment on Pallavi. I agree.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
see,
And
I agree
see,
totally.
Pallavi brought this on herself. She decided she wanted to be out in the cold without
Yeah,
a
she-
monkey cap.
from inside also.
She's out in the cold in many ways, no pun intended.
And of course, Anil, since we've tortured you so much for the last hour, I just want to say our viewers are also saying you're very handsome. Since we have a very serious viewership here, who notice everything.
Yeah, serious,
you're
my
very
foot.
handsome. And that
The
and that
bunch of boys.
will you say something in
flattered.
Malayalam, please? Please say something in Malayalam, please.
I think Abhijit is curiously looking since he can speak fairly good Malayalam also. പക്ഷേ ഈ ഷോയിൽ വരാൻ
എന്റെ കേരളം
No, don't ruin the
എന്റെ
language.
കേരളം എത്ര സുന്ദരം.
I think I apologize for that, but so ഈ ഷോയിൽ വരാൻ സാധിച്ചതിന് സന്തോഷം. Means I'm happy to come to the show. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I hope you do come back to our show again.
I would be delighted.
You
I'll
know-
be. Yes, this is it.
Did you enjoy
I
it?
think after this experience, he's not going to. But anyway,
How do you know? He
I'm
just
sure
might.
I'll be back.
He's sure he'll be back. And everybody who's watching, please do like, share, subscribe. Definitely like, even if you don't do the other things. You know, we get more views than subscribers. I wonder why that is.
But
Yes.
Anand bought himself amnesty by saying he has known Abhijit for the last 5 years. So now any criticism he can now blame it on Abhijit. Saying, I didn't say it. Abhijit is the person who influenced me, and he'll get
Has
away
given me
with
the get out of jail card today. It's all there.
Ah,
We are all
Yeah, what is
actually.
it, Advaita? What is it? What do you want?
I think we're done. Unless somebody has something interesting to say in this at this end moment of this particular show for this week.
I just
Suhel,
believe that India as a nation is far bigger, more resilient, has received many innumerable knocks on both its civilization legacy and its practice of democracy, for it to be either blunted, blemished, or bruised by a documentary. We need to be respectful of creative license and creative freedom. People may attack us, but this is who we are. We are people, when attacked, are the most brave because we blunt those attacks with logic, with reason, and with values that are enshrined in our democracy. Every time someone puts out a film or a book or an article, we don't need to react. We need to be statesmanlike. We are not in an akhara wrestling for space. And remember, these essentially are pigs. A pig wants you to fight. A pig loves a fight, but only you get dirty. So that's a choice you've got to take.
Abhijit, very quick question from one of our viewers saying that do you think they're using Kirpal, the collegium is using that as a way of sort of pushing back on all the debate around the appointment of judges and things like that? Is Kirpal like being used?
I personally think so, yes. Because, Kripal was, but I think he's also been screwed over by the BJP. The BJP tends to screw over its own very badly. Saurabh Kripal was good enough for Modi to defend him against the SIT and everything. But Saurabh Kripal is not good enough to be a judge. Saurabh is one of the smartest minds I know. Okay, I think anybody who knows Saurabh Kripal will tell you that he's a fantastic legal mind, irrespective of who his father was. Okay, that his father was CJI is a completely different thing. But do I think that Chandrachud is playing games with Saurabh Kripal? Yes, I think both sides have decided that Saurabh Kripal is going to be the sort of sacrificial goat in this entire tussle between the two of them.
Okay, and on that note, let's call it a day. I just want to tell everybody that tomorrow at 7 p.m., sorry, not a.m., I'm going to be joined by Akshat Khaitan and we're going to be discussing the budget. Don't worry.
Who's he? No, but who's he?
They know all about him.
You make it seem as if Nirmala Sitharaman is joining you or you're in
conversation
with Paul Krugman.
One day,
Anil
Anthony joined us today. Some of our viewers are very impressed that we managed to get Anil Anthony on. So who knows? Tomorrow it could be.
But who is Akshat Khaitan? Everyone knows who Anil Anthony is. Who is Akshat Khaitan?
You don't need to worry.
Why don't you do one thing? Why don't you get Chunirlal Sharma, who as well?
Anyway, on that note, tomorrow we're going to be live at 7 p.m.
Budget. Advaita Kala is going to discuss the budget. Next, you might as well have a program on biosciences.
I'm going to now put you on mute because we've been tired of your clattering cutlery as well as your cutting remarks.
Being tired is incorrect English.
Oh God! I'm just going to.
We've become tired is correct.
I remove him from the stream. After 1 year, I finally discovered how to remove someone.
So rude. Should I get my dog also to discuss the budgets then?
Nonsense.
Come here, Babu. Advait, come here.
Okay, bye everybody. Bye. See you tomorrow at 7 p.m. We're gonna it's gonna be a viewer hour, so you can ask your questions. Bye everybody. Ciao.
My son.